Just arrived this morning at Photogenius HQ is the new Nikon D3500. In this video I want to do an unboxing, see what you get in the box. I want to talk about some of the camera features, and also I want to compare the features with the previous model, which is the Nikon D3400. Hi, Paul here from Photogenius. Now in this video we're going to take a first look at the new Nikon D3500. This camera is replacing the Nikon D3400, which came out in 2016. A very successful camera for Nikon, and a camera that I've used extensively. It's a great entry-level camera. It takes great photos, it's easy to use, and I've done a whole heap of videos featuring the D3400. So I'm interested to see how the new camera stacks up against it. I guess the first thing we want to do is unbox the camera. So I got this today, brand new, and let's see what we get inside the box. Well, first thing we see are the usual warranty cards. Delve a little bit deeper, and here we have the camera strap, obviously essential Nikon camera strap. The charger, pretty standard Nikon charger. The essential battery, of course, I believe, but I will let you know later in the video, that this is the same as the one featured in the Nikon D3400. Let's pop that there. Let's look at the lens next. So I went for the kit, the standard kit. That means the camera plus the 18 to 55mm lens. Now what's different between this lens and the one that I have with the previous camera, the D3400, is now this lens is VR, so it's got vibration reduction built in, whereas I believe most of the D3400 kits had a non-VR lens, so that's a pretty good feature. Now for the camera itself. Okay, well packaged as it should be. There you go. That is the new Nikon D3500. Now let's get rid of the box. Let's pop the lens on. And there we go. The new Nikon D3500. So yeah, in terms of size, fairly similar to the D3400, but in terms of layout, completely different. So I think we need to take a look at this. I just realized actually that there's no manual in this box at all. Okay, so there's no manual, not even a little starter manual, so I'd be interested to see what happened to that. I don't know if anyone from Australia, Nikon Australia, can get back to me on that one, but there's no manual in the box, and that's could be a bit of an issue. Maybe my one's missing the manual, but hopefully if you buy the camera you'll get the manual. Let's take a look at the functions. Now over the next few days I'm going to be putting this camera to the test, so if you're keen to see my photos taken with the Nikon D3500, make sure you follow me on Instagram. You'll find a link below the video. The Nikon D3500, this is the Nikon D3400, and on paper these cameras are actually very, very similar. The big obvious difference between these two cameras is the button layout on the body. They've completely redesigned the camera body. They've actually made it smaller, so the camera is actually lighter. D3500 comes in at 365 grams versus 445 grams on the D3400, so there's a bit of a weight saving. In terms of the grip and the feel of the camera, with the D3400, I quite like the grip. It's got a grip that's suited to larger hands, whereas the Nikon D3500 has got a redesigned grip. Probably suits smaller hands better, but it does still feel very solid in the hand. Now the button layout is the big change on these cameras. With the previous camera, the D3400, we had buttons to the left of the screen, to the right of the screen, on the top of the camera. Now they've tidied everything up, so whilst there still is some buttons on the top, everything's now been moved over to the right hand side of the screen, and I think this is a much better layout. So let's take a quick look at this first. On the top of the new D3500, we see the mode dial is less cluttered as we've lost the landscape and child mode. No big deal there, I think. The info button has also been moved from the top of the camera to the rear of the camera, and on the top of the camera there is the addition of the live view switch. Looking at the rear of the cameras side by side, we can see the biggest change is in the layout and design of the D3500. With the exception of the flash button, all buttons have now been located to the right of the LCD display. This, Nikon say, makes using the camera one-handed much easier. Also note the larger padded area where your thumb can sit. This not only makes the camera more comfortable to hold, but is also more secure. If you've got a Nikon D3500, D3400 or a similar camera, you might want to check out my list of essential camera accessories. It's on the Photogenius website. I'll put a link in the description below the video. So I'm a big fan of the new look. The D3500 is a great looking camera and I really like the layout and the design. So Nikon have done a pretty good job here. So this really does look like a brand new camera. But on paper, there's not a massive difference between the D3500 and the D3400. Sensor, 24 megapixel sensor. Now whilst Nikon claim the sensor has been redefined or refined, we'll have to see. X-Speed 4 processor. The processor is really important, it drives the camera. Nikon's X-Speed 4 processor was in the Nikon D3400 and they've carried that over to the D3500, so no improvement there. Battery. The cameras use the same battery, but things have improved here. Nikon claim 30% now improvement in power consumption. So with the previous camera, Nikon claims you can take 1,220 images, but with the new camera, a fully charged battery, 1,550 images. Now if that's true, that's a pretty good improvement in battery life. No change to the LCD display, no change to the ISO range on these cameras, 100 to 25,600. And both cameras offer full HD 1080p video. With most modern cameras, we're coming to expect now wireless connectivity, and with the Nikon D3500, no exception here. This camera offers Bluetooth, which means that you can connect it to a smartphone or a tablet and use that to control the camera remotely. It's a pretty cool feature, but that's just as well, because one of the things they have dumped is the ability to use a remote device. With the Nikon D3400, I could use this remote device to remotely activate the camera. It was a great function and it was easy to use and I absolutely love it. But unfortunately, they've removed this with the D3500. So whilst you can still use the camera remotely, you can't do it using this. So the convenience factor has now gone. You have to download the SnapBridge app, which to be fair is free, put it on your smartphone, connect via Bluetooth. It's a good feature of the camera to be fair, but I do miss this and I do wonder why they dropped that feature from the D3500. It's a shame. Now another feature that's missing from the D3500 is the function button. On the D3400, over to the left of the body here is a function button. And what you can do with function buttons is you can assign them to do different things. By default on the D3400, when you held the function button and turned the wheel on the back of the camera, you could change the ISO. This was really convenient and a great feature of the camera, but I'm not quite sure why. They've removed the function button now from the D3500. So as far as I know, there is no quick way of accessing, say, the ISO function of the camera. Now it may be that I can set another button up to do this, but I can't check that at the moment because I've just unboxed this. I need to charge up the battery and Nikon, where's my manual? There was no manual, so I can't check that either. So I'm going to get back to you on this one in a future video, but the function button is missing. I think that's a bit of a shame. So as far as I know, the D3500 is replacing the D3400. So I'm expecting the D3400 to disappear over the coming months and this camera will replace it. Is it a worthy replacement? Well, in terms of the look, the layout and the design of the camera, I really do like it. But there are some things that are a little bit annoying. Removing the function button, I think personally was a bit of a mistake, and not being able to use the Nikon remote is a real shame as well. But aside from that, it looks pretty good. Don't Does it take great photos? Well, far too early for me to say. I've got to charge up the battery and get out there and take some photos, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So over the coming weeks, I'm going to be testing this camera. I will be doing some videos on this, so please consider subscribing to my channel so you don't miss out. I'm also going to be taking lots of photos with this camera, so make sure you follow me on Instagram. I'll put a link down below the video. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Do consider subscribing, and you can leave your questions, comments and suggestions down below. I'll see you sometime soon. See ya. Bye.